Hey beautiful people, what's up? It's your girl Nogbonga Osariri and this is Holistic Health, where holy meets health and that's prayer. Anyways, welcome, and welcome to yet another episode of Holistic Health. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about signs of emotional growth. So yes, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first sign is you start to see your parents as human. And there is a quote that I'm going to paraphrase because I don't want to misquote. It says, you only truly become an adult when you start seeing your parents just as flawed as you are. And I think there's a quote in the Bible. I need to find it actually, but I will insert it when I'm editing this video. It says, when I was a child, I understood as a child and I spoke as a child, but now that I am grown, I have put away childish things. That is exactly how it is. And it is quite a great indicator when you start understanding better and you start having more grace and mercy towards your parents, understanding that they come from their own traumas and childhood trauma is inevitable for all of us. You know, when you start to have that level of grace, that is quite an indicator that no, man, there is emotional intelligence that is brewing in this house, and this is the holistic house. So we definitely need that kind of mindset to understand that they're humans, that they go through trials and tribulations just as you do, and that they have mistakes, they have green flags and they have red flags. Just as we go around looking for green and red flags in our partners and in our friendships, it's the exact same way that we need to it's the exact same kind of scope that we need to give to our parents and have that kind of grace, because unfortunately we cannot pick family, we can pick friends, but with family you just have to deal with what you've been given and make the most of it. So yes. Now, the second sign is you accept yourself as you are. And I think this is quite an indicator of emotional growth, because in high school, more especially as girls, you are insecure about a lot of things. You are insecure about your body, you're insecure about your face, you're insecure about your acne, your complexion. And there's a lot of room for insecurities because puberty is a very transitional phase, and yeah, no, it really doesn't give us rest. But when you begin to accept your flaws, accept the things that you may not like about yourself, and also on a more emotional level, when you become self-aware, rather self-aware of your red flags, self-aware of your green flags, awareness is an awakening of a sort, awakening of self and awakening of character. So self-awareness is very important, and when you become self-aware, it is only easier and only natural to accept, because you know, and when you know better, it's only fair to do better. So yes, this is quite the indicator. Now, the third indicator is you have no will to impress. Ooh, yeah. Once you let go of peer pressure, and I feel like this one is also a bit tricky, because I think peer pressure is always given, at any stage, at any point. You will forever look at people your age and feel like, wow, this person has a car, and not always from an envious perspective, but sometimes you just feel left behind. But once you start feeling like, you know what, I'm in my own life, I'm in my own journey, I'm living my life, it is what it is, I can only do this much and I am content. So basically, contentment is quite an indicator of emotional growth, where you are no longer competing with people who aren't even competing with you, because I mean, what's the point? And where the world's pressure really can't crush you anymore, because there is peace within. And once the enemy within is removed, the enemy outside cannot have power over you. And that is just true. So when you have no willpower, no horsepower to impress, you have made it. You have won one of so many battles, because in this day and age, having things and competing with each other and proving a point, it's just the way of life for many. We've made it so normal. Like, it's always get the bag, do this, do that. But who are you really proving these things to? Like, if it's not for you, then what's the point? Like, really, what's the point? Because the truth is, no one really cares as much as you think they do. Like, no one does, honestly. Like, umuntu nomuntu uneyinkinga zakhe ebhaketheni, umuntu nomuntu unewayelo utwayi lakhe. And that's just the truth. So yes, now the fourth indicator is you are focused on elevating yourself. And this, I feel, goes back to self-awareness, because once you become self-aware, one of the next steps in whatever which order is self-development. You start focusing on the intrinsic things of life. You start focusing on your character. You start focusing on your green flags, and you maximize them. You start discovering your talents, or maybe not even talents, but skills, attributes, your character. You start, there's just a level of awareness, or a level of awakefulness, so to say, and a level of open-mindedness, and you really start focusing on the intrinsic things. And when the focus is within, that is also such an indicator of emotional growth, that you realize that this is your life and you have to live it, and you have to make the best of everything that has been handed to you, because you cannot pick and choose the life that you have. But once you find yourself there, then you are determined to make the best of what you've been dealt with. And that is such an indicator of emotional growth, because once you grow up, certain things must change. Certain switches start switching on, and you realize that, baby, it's just you and I, and that's you in the mirror, just by the way, not a baby. So yeah. Okay. Now the fifth thing is you allow yourself to feel. Whew. Let me just say that again, because wow. The fifth thing is you allow yourself to feel. Whew. Yeah, ne? Okay. Let me pull myself towards myself for this one. Now we all know of that coping mechanism where we are avoidant of our problems, avoidant of our emotions, avoidant of conflict, avoidant of confrontation, rather, actually. And that is not healthy. But what is healthy is permitting yourself to feel emotions on the good days and to feel emotions on the bad days. I think more especially the bad days, actually, because it comes more naturally to feel on the good days, and we want to be happy, and we really indulge, in that happiness. But once it becomes a negative emotion, then we try our best to hide it. If hiding it from the world does it for you, great, but you can't hide emotion from yourself. I mean, who are you deceiving? No, like, who are you deceiving? Because you alone. No, because that's me, myself, and I. You and yourself. You know what's going on. And permit yourself to feel, so that you can actually process the emotions, because it's like bearing the problem without bearing the hatchet. So who are you helping? Like, you can't put bandage or band-aid on a wound that has not been dressed and cleansed. So going through the process is essentially cleansing and dressing the wound fully. Then only do you put the band-aid to cover it up. So do not neglect your wounds. Do not neglect your pain. Do not neglect the bad days, and push yourself to feel things that you're not feeling, and convince yourself that all is well when it isn't, because I think that is only really just doing yourself a disservice. Don't lie to yourself. I mean, I don't encourage lying in general, but rather lie to the world than lie to yourself. Honestly, like, no. Nah, nah, we don't do that. Now, the sixth thing is you communicate better. Now, this is a very, very great indicator of emotional intelligence. And I know that there are people who are anxious, people who suffer from anxiety and whatnot. But for all of us across the spectrum of our personality types and across the spectrum of being a human being, really, communication really boils down to two things. The first thing is approach or delivery. The second thing is tone. Now, these are the two things that one needs to master in communication. You need not be aggressive and you need not be passive in your communication. You need to be assertive. And assertiveness looks like, listen, about yesterday, I don't like this and that because it made me feel this way. I would appreciate if that kind of behavior did not repeat itself. Things like that. You don't have to, hey, when I want to, no, like there is no need to always be starting fires. The world is already on fire. This is pandemonium. Yeah. So communication is a great indicator of one's character and one's emotional intelligence. So, an emotional intelligent people pick their battles. It's not every fight that you have to fight. And I'm not saying you'll never be triggered, and I'm not saying that you'll never feel it coming. But for the most part, for the most part of life, we are quite cool, calm, and collected. And personality types differ, I know, but assertiveness is not really about one's personality, but rather about one's communication style. Now, assertiveness gives you the chance to express yourself freely, to express yourself respectfully, and to get your point across effectively, and also to make the other person aware. So be assertive, communicate. If you don't like something, let it be known, and if you like something, let it be known as well. But more especially, if you don't like something, please do not ever feel like you need to just take it in and swallow all the shit, pardon my language, that people sometimes deal with us. And I know that at home and in certain settings it may be a bit difficult, but I think personally I'm fortunate enough to come from a home where I can definitely say if I am unhappy, and that's just how I've lived my life. And honestly, ngihappy kakhulu. Love lives here inside me. So yes. Number 7 is you set clear, crystal clear boundaries. Okay, clear. I really, really need to emphasize this word because wow, for most of us who claim to have boundaries, and I'm sad to admit that I'm one of them, sometimes our boundaries are quite blurry. There are a lot of blurred lines as to what we're going to accept and what we don't. And the truth is, if your boundary is blurry, then there is absolutely no, let me not say absolutely no chance, but there's a very minimal chance that people are going to respect a boundary that you don't respect yourself. And if your boundary is not distinct, if it is not definite, then you are not respecting it yourself because you kinda unsure. And uncertainty gives room for a lot of violations in our personal space. So you need to be certain of what you are going to accept, and you also need to be certain of what you are not going to accept. You need to have boundaries to yourself as well, things that you can and cannot do, things that you don't mind being seen doing, and things that you do not want to be seen doing. Have boundaries to self first and foremostly. Have boundaries to self, and then have boundaries that other people that you use in your interactions with other people. So boundaries need to be intrapersonal and they need to be interpersonal. Ooh, my English. Okay. Please follow me. So boundaries help us to protect ourselves. They help us to be respected to respect ourselves and to respect others. And people who don't respect your boundaries, honestly, you figure out what that means. But personally, someone who does not respect my boundary is not going to be in my space. And that's just on period. There's certain things that I don't want around me. There's certain behaviors that I don't tolerate around me. A simple example would be a smoker. Now, I don't smoke at all. And I avoid being in the same space in time with someone who does smoke because I know that that rubs me up the wrong bog. And if you're someone who is a friend of mine and I told you this, and then you're just gonna go and light your cigarette in the middle of nowhere, mid convo, like what are you trying to prove? What are you trying to happen? Because you know that I will react to that. And it's just the little things, but also the really big things that matter. And that goes back to my point about communication. Communicate effectively. State the things that you like and state the things that you don't like. Because essentially the things that you don't like happening in your space and in your own time are your boundaries. So set your boundaries. Be very, very clear. Don't let them be blurred. Please be very, very clear. They must know. They must know. And you must know. Put it on a billboard if you can. Be very clear about it. And be very stern in enforcing those boundaries. And that is quite an indicator of emotional intelligence, because nobody's going to mess with your space. And you protect your mental health at all costs. So, yeah. Whew. Okay. The next sign is you want peace. I've got a joy, peace, and happiness in my soul. Hey. Ooh. When you get to a level where all you want is joy, peace, and happiness, that is where you know that you've grown. Where you choose yourself and you choose peace at all costs. Where if the setting is toxic, you are out. No one needs to tell you twice. Because I think when we're younger, we have the tendency to stay in toxic settings because normally our self-worth isn't that high, and the level of the things that you accept, the level of the bullshit that you accept is directly proportional to your self-worth. I'm going to insert a video, please pardon my language. Anyways, the level of nonsense, rather, the level of nonsense that you accept is directly proportional to your self-worth. And the higher your self-worth is, the less shit you are going to accept.
If you want to know what your self-worth is like, look at all the things you are tolerating in your life right now. This will show you what you think your value is. This will show you what your worth is. And this will show how you are undervaluing yourself. So my question to you today is, what are you tolerating? What upsets you, but you think you have to shut your mouth and take it? What are the words you are eating instead of saying? What is a foot that you're tapping instead of putting it down? What are the things that you dislike about your life right now that you have given up? Resolved to just be quiet about it, to just take it? What are the expectations that you've had yet have had to lower in order to make others around you feel comfortable?
And that's on period. Going back to my point of wanting peace. When your self-worth is higher, you want more peace because you, within yourself, there is ideally peace. You radiate peace and you radiate love, and in all your interactions you only want the same energy to be reciprocated back to you. And if you don't get that, then you're out. No one needs to tell you that this flag is ready. You see it from a mile away now because you are self-aware. You are very aware that, listen, this person is going to bring a lot of chaos in my serene world, and you only want matching energy. So you're ideally peaceful and more calm. And I'm not talking about personality types, I'm talking about internal environment now. That your internal environment is calm, is serene, and you only really want the same thing. And if you're not getting it, then you're out. And And that's on period. That's on prayer. That's on prayer. That's on prayer. Whew, that's on prayer. Right. Number 9 is you are slow to anger. You are slow to anger. And this is true because the more emotional intelligent you are, the less reactive you are to your triggers, because you are aware of your triggers, because you have worked with your triggers, you know how to maneuver around them, and ideally, or consequently rather, you are calmer. And again, I'm not talking about personality types, I'm talking about reactions now. Reaction to triggers and reaction to situations that annoy you. Like, you're not someone who, if someone just says that one word, if someone just calls you Gqemeza, you already up in flames. No. When someone calls you that, you are able to communicate that, listen, I don't like being called that, and I'm not going to tolerate being called that. Simple. And if you want to be in my space, uzolshiya lelo gama, uzoliyeka. Otherwise, it's 80 dear. And it's just as simple as that. You're slow to anger because you are aware, and also you've worked on your character, and your emotions aren't that extreme. They're not that fluctuating at every time and every moment, and you're just so vulnerable, and you're a ticking time bomb, and everyone needs to walk on eggshells around you because, wow, we know if we say this word, woo. No. But you're slow to anger because you are aware, and that's prayer. The last thing is you have grace. Grace means mercy, grace means understanding, and grace means forgiveness. And when you ooze these qualities, then you know that you are quite emotionally intelligent. It also means compassion. When you are able to look at your neighbor out of love and out of compassion, when you are able to forgive without even an apology, that because you want peace, you want peace.
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
You make sure that for your own peace and for your own sanity, you treat yourself with grace, you are kind to yourself, you forgive yourself for your mistakes, and you maneuver life bearing in mind that you're human and you are bound to make mistakes. And you are able to extend that grace to others as well. That, listen, they're human. I expected better from them, perhaps because of the position they hold in my heart or the position they hold in society. But at the end of the day, they are human just as I am, and I'm going to treat them with courtesy. I will give them that courtesy, you know? So having grace is a sign of emotional intelligence, because you understand what it means to be human, and you operate from a level of mercy, not pity, but mercy. Please understand that too. Mercy has class. Pity is not a good word. I don't want pity, but I would appreciate mercy and compassion and kindness. And when you begin to have those characters or those characteristics for yourself and for others, then you know that you have grown. So yes. So, because this is my last video for this year, I just need to extend a word about dirty December. So we're going into December, and as a Christian, speaking to people now in general, especially if you're Christian, then this is really, really important for you to know. Please do not do something that you are going to regret. Do not do something that is going to ruin the 11 months of hard work, of fasting, and of prayer. And excuse me, I have a very fragile voice, so it comes and goes sometimes. And 11 months worth of fasting and prayer and celibacy and whatever other journey that you were on, Do not ruin it in just a month of pleasure. You've worked very hard. This is also for everyone. You've worked very hard. You've worked in your healing. You've worked academically. You've worked on your relationships. You've worked on your friendships. You've worked on so many things. Like, we've all worked and we've all grown in this year. Do not ruin it in the name of December, because December is only a month, but you have 11 months worth of history and 11 months worth of work, and you have another 11 months next year that ideally you have used your December as a foundation to actually build. Don't wait for January to build, because sometimes you would be building from below zero, because in December we tend to deplete our resources, and we deplete our work, and we deplete our energy and our stored energy. Do not do that to yourself. Do not lose it all in the name of a hype. December is just a month, guys. Please be wise. Stay safe. Really stay safe. Let people know where you're going at all times. Never sneak out. I don't know why you should be sneaking out of home in the first place. Maybe because my home is different. I literally say I'm going to a party. I literally say those things. I don't really intend to be partying this December. Like, I really just want to be calm and relaxed and take this time to breathe and reset and refocus and plan my life for next year. And I wish the same for you guys. But if you are going to be going out to groove and you are in the mood and mode of festivities, please remember your maker. Please remember who you are. Even if you're not Christian, remember your morals, remember your values. Don't lose it all and destroy something that could take you years to rebuild, a mistake that could take you years to get over. Like, don't cause yourself unnecessary trauma in this time, and know that the devil is really out to kill, to steal, and to destroy, because it's December. This is dirty December, so it is about to go. It's about to go down. So yes, the voice, guys, but we are trying. Listen, if you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. I love you. I love you. I love you. So I will see you beautiful people next year. Remember that we are healing in this house, and I wish you all the healing. I wish you all the joy. I wish you all the bliss, all the happiness that life has to offer. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, especially subscribe and sharing. Those are really important, the likes. I care about them, but I mean. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. I will see you guys in 2022. Stay safe.